welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to discuss on the WebSockets. So we are going to create a WebSocket server on the localhost using node.js, and then we are going to consume that localhost link into our Swift using sockets. But before we jump into the practicals, let's have a quick view on what WebSockets actually are and how it is different from HTTP and the others. So a basic communication between a client and a server, wherein there is one client and there is one server. So in HTTP, whenever the client sends a request to the server checks for many protocol rules, like it will check for the TLS version, the supported one. It will, if you are using any kind of certificate or pinning is done, it will check for a valid certificate in that case. And once all these checks are done, a connection is established, and then it responds back to the client. After that, the connection is closed. In case of polling, there is a continuous request to the server, and in return the server also continuously responds back even though the data is not there. So what this does is it causes a lot of congestion or traffic over the network. So it's not considered to be a very better approach in all the cases, because the data might take time at the server side, and until then, for every continuous request, it keeps sending back the responses, and they are actually the empty responses. So in polling, we have a concept called as the long polling. So in long polling, what it does is, for one request, it waits for the response to come back and then it sends back the response. In case of webhooks, which is also a part of HTTP, the concept is a bit different. In webhooks, we create the URL is created at the client side, and then it is registered on the server side. So it is a kind of a callback, which is triggered by an event. So once the data has come back, the callback replies back to the client, and the client has got an equivalent handler for that. So basically, webhooks are used in case where you have some kind of CMS or something, or your enterprise application, and then you need to connect with the third parties like the GitHub, Google Analytics, something like that. Then you use the webhooks. But here, WebSockets are very different from all of these. WebSocket is basically a duplex communication protocol, which works on single TCP connection, which means that once the request is gone and response has come back and a connection is established, then in case of WebSockets, you can send as many requests and get as many responses back in one single TCP connection. Also, it is called the real-time communication because this is a persistent connection, and it is not only the case that when the client will send the request, then only server will respond. The server can respond even though without any request also. So that is why it is called real-time, because the server can respond without the request also, and all of these things happen in one single TCP connection. So WebSocket is basically on the application layer in the OSI model, but they work on the TCP layer, and the communication is done basically using the TCP packets. So there is another concept called as the WebRTC, which is the real-time communication for the video and audio. It uses the UDP, so we can discuss that in a different video. So let's jump back to the code, and now we have understanding of WebSocket. So let's see how practically this can be achieved. So once the package is included, let's quickly create this class. So before jumping into the code, I just wanted to show you that from here you can add the package. From file you can select add package manager, you can add the GitHub link, and then you can see that this is how it is included as a package manager. Now let's go through the code for the client side, which is into Swift. If you notice in the beginning, I've imported the StarScream library, and then I've created the object of WebSocket and the WebSocket server, and then created the URL request and assigned it to the WebSocket constructor, and then the delegate is assigned as self. So by using the WebSocket delegate, we are able to use its methods like you see the did receive. And did receive has got many events, more than I think 7, 8 or 10 events, but I'll be using here only 2 just for the sake of example purpose. One is connected when the connection is established, and the text when the receiver receives the text. And you can also see that there are other methods like connect to server, send text, disconnect. These are the actions which I've created based on the storyboard actions. So on connect to server, it get the connection is established. Send text means when we want to send the text, and disconnect is when I'm disconnecting the server connection. So let's have a look at the storyboard. This is how I've created this stack of elements. And generally in practice, we usually avoid using the storyboard for dynamic views, but just for the sake of example, I'm pasting all the elements here. So you can see on the top there is where the sender will send the message. Then we have the connect button, the send button, and then again a text box which will receive the message, and then we have the disconnect button. So let's combine all this, and let's first see how to create a node.js servers quickly. So let me create a folder here named as Websockets, and then I will right click it and open new terminal folder. Here I will just do the npm install ws, which is WebSocket. What this will do is you can see that all the packages are downloaded. I will go back to the Visual Studio Code and open this project here. Okay, now click on open. So you can see that all this code has come here. I'll replace this code with this one where I've included the type module. This is Node.js related, so we can discuss this in a separate part. So quickly I'll create the index.js. In this, let me include all the code which is required to create the server. So let's see the client and server in practical. You can see on the right side, the black screen is the terminal, which is the Node.js server, and the left side is the simulator, our client, Swift client. I've already told you about all the text boxes: connect, send, and disconnect. So let me go and start the server here. So you can just go to the project, Node.js project, right click and open the terminal, and then you can write here node index.js and click enter. It will start the server. But before that, let me show you. I've closed the server here. Let me show you what happens if the server is not connected. This is the client console which is on the Swift. It is empty, and let me hit connect here. Let's see what happens. Okay, you can see that there is an error, socket error, which says that the connection is not there. So let's start the server now again. Node index.js, the server is started. Let me hit and start the client also once again. Let's hit the connect button. You can see that a message has come back from the server, and you can see here in the console it shows connected, and these are all the details which went as a header to the server. Now let me type some message here. Hey, send. You can see that it received hey and it has responded back with hi sort of. So we can wait for a few seconds and you will see that without sending any request a response will come. See, so this was what I was talking about, that once in one TCP connection we can do so much. Okay, let me reply to this message and let me write here like all good. So once I hit enter on this, you will see that it will again respond back with a different message. So that's all about the WebSockets here. You can see that we did so much in one TCP connection, and which is why socket is helpful for real-time communications. So let me disconnect it here. You can see it has got disconnected. Even if I try to send some message and send, you will see that it won't be sent because it's disconnected. So I can connect again, I'll get the response. I can send again hey and something, it will again respond back. And I'll disconnect again. So this is all about the WebSockets. Hope you like this session. If you like this session, please do subscribe, comment and like. Thank you for watching.